I've never done a podcast before. I should probably say that on the podcast. Okay, I'll say that again.
Welcome back to the Epoch podcast. This is week number 4, or episode number 4. Today we have a very special guest. My name is Ben Warty with my co-host
Diego Bryan.
Those weren't the special guests though. Our special guest comes all the way from Georgia, although he lived in North Carolina. He does lots of video stuff and he owns at least one camera. Neil Peterson.
I own like half a camera, but thanks for having me.
More
guys.
than one camera, don't you?
Yeah, I've got kind of. I don't really know how it works.
It's what he does. Of course, he has one camera. Are you kidding me?
Neil makes videos for the Georgia football team. So any video that they see, most videos.
Yeah. I hope in at least all of that. I mean, and at least all of them. Basically, all the ones that go out, I have some sort of hand in. But a lot of the ones
kind
on
of a big deal.
Yeah, no.
It's not as big of a deal as it seems. No, people don't really watch them, but
I watch them. I watch all of them.
Don't they have like hundreds of thousands of views? Am I looking at the wrong Georgia football videos?
So we put out ones on Instagram that are like the 15 to like 30 second to minute long, however Instagram limits it. So those I don't know how many views those get really, and then we put up pictures and stuff. But on our Vimeo channel, we get I don't know. I don't really look.
Yeah, once you pass a certain barrier,
I'll look it up.
The views just aren't real anymore.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. All I really look at are the comments that people put on them, which are like terrible. I mean, like it's hilarious, but they're terrible. Like
they don't like the
oh my gosh.
The videos.
There was one guy that was literally just like this video is trash. There's a really great song by AC/DC called Thunderstruck, and that's what you should put to a real hype video, which is hilarious because it's like, I mean, that's a great song, but I was just like, so now we always joke about putting Thunderstruck as our video.
You should just put it for every video from now on. Just Thunderstruck, just regardless of the mood.
So yeah, okay, we got, hold on, I don't know if that's updated. Okay, here we go. So 15,000 on our first one.
Of this season or
of yeah.
They produced a series called Autumn Fire. That is this year's.
No, wait, just kidding. 40,000.
Yes, that's nice.
That sounds more like what I was saying.
And then, sorry, what were you saying? Sorry, Ben.
I was saying like their story. Neil, and one of his friends / co-workers / one of the greatest people who I would like to come on this. I don't know why he would come on. You should.
We always talk about doing a podcast, and this will be what makes us do that podcast.
Well, he should come on this.
Yeah,
tell him to come down.
We could Skype in.
No, sir, you could. You should definitely Skype in.
Well, it's absolutely
100%. You should do that because that'd be awesome. I would love to talk. His his name is Frank, and he is a video god.
Was he the founder of the program, or like did he carry it to where it is today?
Yeah. So Frank. The section of video that we're in is the coaches video department. So all of the guys that we like technically like quote unquote work with, all do coaches videos. So they film practice and they film games, and they just do cut ups so that players and coaches can watch film and be like, hey, like you were at a position here, you had a position here. So Frank did videos in his high school, and kind of made a name for himself and got an introduction to our boss. And they kind of just like made a position for him because they always had like someone doing social media stuff in recruiting. And then he kind of just, I guess, took it over and started doing these videos, and they caught on, and Nike ended up making a brand off of one of the videos he made.
No big deal.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. He will never admit that to you, but
so it just started off as just like game footage, and then he started compiling the highlights.
Yeah. So what it was they basically just gave him. He had a Canon 7D, and they gave him a press pass, and he would go to practice, and he would go to workouts, and he'd kind of do these really great videos, and then it kind of really took off after.
When Neil joined the program, as soon as Neil got there, it just blew up.
Steadily went down. We were crashing very hard. But no, I mean it was really cool. He kind of built it, but we have now someone who's hired from recruiting who's a full time named Eric. His name is Eric Black, and he's a really, really talented guy, and he's went to South Carolina, graduated, and now works full time. So it's kind of like the three of us, I guess. Would you say, are like our Georgia football video is like the name of it. But Frank kind of really built up the video post-production video department.
And how did you hear about this? Were you recruited for football and then?
Yeah. So I was the starting quarterback and then they were like, no, I wasn't the starting quarterback. I was a starting wide receiver.
Right. That makes much more sense.
Totally. Anyway, so I was at orientation and, I saw the video at orientation and I went up to my orientation leader and I was like, hey, do you know that person? I want to help make those videos. So
you didn't know about this before you went to Georgia at all?
No, not at all. No. When I got to Georgia for orientation, she was like, orientation was like middle of the summer. So I came home and I like watched all of the videos on Vimeo.
And then sent them to me. So I'd seen these videos like before Neil got to Georgia.
So like he's a hipster, he's popular.
I was before the time.
But so then I found Frank on Vimeo, and of course, as everybody does when they want to get in touch with someone, you message them on Vimeo Message,
right?
Which is like not a. I'm pretty sure like Vimeo got rid of it because no one used it. But so he never got back to me, and I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just try to figure it out when I get there. So I got there, and my aunt, she's a teacher up in Virginia, and was like, hey, I'll put you in contact with the guy who does Coach's video at UVA. Because he knows the guy who does it at UGA. So I emailed the guy at Virginia, and then he put me in contact with my now boss at Georgia. And then I called him to come in for an interview and like talk to him about doing a post-production position. And he didn't pick up. And I was like, whatever, forget it. Mom was like, call him again, like see what happens. And I like called him again. He checked it out, and it was awesome. And he showed me around, and actually, like one of the first people I met in the football facility was Keith Marshall, who went to Millbrook and is now on the Redskins. And
yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, it was really funny because I was like, oh my gosh, that's Keith Marshall, and my boss was like, oh yeah, you know him, and I was like not at all. He has no idea who I am, but I was like, he went to the high school down the street from me, and he goes, Keith, get over here. And Keith was like, what's up? And like, he introduced me to Keith Marshall, and I was like, all right, well, this is awesome. I've been here for 20 minutes. So then I met Frank, and Frank was like, dude, I just saw your message on Vimeo. And I was like, that's weird. I'm uncomfortable. So then I got a hard drive of footage, and they're like, make a minute and a half long hype video, quote unquote hype video. I don't know. It's terrible. And then I spent the entire weekend doing that. I was there on Friday, and on Monday I brought it back to him. And Tuesday he called me and he was like, congrats, dude, you got it. And I was like, thanks, man. And then I just kind of been like, I'm like really waiting for them to be like, hey, like, just kidding. Like, we don't know actually like what you do here. Like, get out. And I'm going to be like, damn it. I'm like, dang it. But yeah, so it's just a really fun job. I kind of do a little bit of everything, but it's really cool.
It's going to get amped up next year, though, because Frank is a senior this year, and Mr. Neal is in line to take over the head post-production position next year, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I don't really know how that's going to go. I'm not going to say that the videos are going to be bad, but the quality might drop just a little bit.
Just a cliff, just a straight dive.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm freaking out, but
you're going to work with Eric though?
Yeah. So Eric, I'm pretty sure I'll get with Eric a lot on kind of like concept ideas. A lot of this summer is going to be me, like with concepts of kind of what the fall is going to look like, planning out videos. Cause that's a lot what Frank and I did. Frank more so than I, but we did a lot this summer and we went up a little bit early. Eric Black, Georgia football video, just texted me, kind of about what our theme is going to be. That's kind of how Autumn Fire came into being, was over the summer. So we had sorry.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, are your videos affected by how Georgia plays?
Yeah. So this year is a rebuilding year. We have a lot of really good freshmen, and
it wasn't supposed to be a rebuilding year though, right?
So, well, it was supposed to be a rebuilding year, but we're supposed to be like really good.
Right.
Yeah. And so the way this is like a Kirby Smart is our head coach. He was the defensive coordinator at Alabama. And it really is just like we have, I'd say probably maybe 50 to 60% of our starting players are freshmen and sophomores. So it's really, they're just lacking the experience. Our position coaches are some of the best in the nation. Our offensive line coaches, not joking, like the best in the nation. And a lot of it is like recruiting. So we have the number 3 recruiting class this year with Kirby Smart as head coach, and we're 4-3, and we still have the number 3 recruiting class. So last year was Kirby Smart got to Georgia and was like, how many players and recruits can I keep at Georgia? And this year is how many players can I recruit myself? And he's one of the best recruiters in the country. So that's pretty cool. But of course, every Georgia fan is like, next year is our year.
It's the same thing for state. We say that every year. Yeah. And then it's not our year.
So, I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes. But the whole kind of Autumn Fire thing was we kind of teach the core values of what football teaches, right? And so we are doing humility. For Auburn, we're doing, the next video we're going to put out is integrity. And we've done vision. We've done perseverance. We're doing a couple others. The last one we're doing is love. So in our kickoff video, it's called the kickoff. Shameless plug. We kind of highlighted each one that it teaches, and then we go through, but the order that we do it in is based on how we do.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a very long
it has changed answer. From the original storyboard. It has been moved. They've been flipped.
Yeah. So they weren't really set in stone. So it's kind of depending on how we do this one here, this one here. So I feel like if we'd been a 7-0 team, humility would be the next one that we're doing, because we're 7-0. We need to stay humble. But this one is integrity, because we had this really great charity called Extra Special People. And there's a lot of kids with mental and physical disabilities come after practice, and the players meet with them. And so this week's, it's for Kentucky. It's going on next Thursday. It's not as much of a hype video as it is I think it's going to be a good video. Frank is a genius, but it's more of kind of just highlighting
a warm-hearted video.
Yeah. The integrity of the players, kind of how they are very good people, and I don't know. I think a lot of the guys are really great guys. So yeah,
that's cool. When is the Florida game?
Florida game's tomorrow.
That's okay. So that is tomorrow.
Yeah. So I could have gone down to Georgia, Florida. A lot of UGA students go to St. Simon's Island and go crazy and party on the beach, which honestly sounds terrible to me. Just very claustrophobic. But apparently Georgia, Florida is a big game that everybody needs to go to at some point.
That's what I heard as well. I was reading a lot of stuff. I didn't know that was a rivalry until 2 days ago.
Yeah, they just gave it a really weird name. It's the River City Battle, but
I don't know.
Jackson. So it's in a neutral location, which is kind of shows it's halfway between Gainesville and Athens, which is Jacksonville. Which is pretty cool.
Is it at the Jaguar Stadium?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's what is the name of that stadium?
Jacksonville Stadium.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. No. But I'll be going next year and the year after. So I'm excited. I feel like we play to the level of our opponent. Who knows, man? Really, anything can happen.
You're hoping for a W.
I'm just really terrible to watch football games with, because I just yell and throw things the entire time. So
I don't think you're alone in that. I feel like a lot of avid sports fans,
based on the amount of things broken tomorrow, that'll tell you how the game went.
I'll have to have a follow up some other time, over Skype, and ask you how many things you broke during the Florida Georgia game.
I'm still taking it inventory.
But just all the cameras just smashing stuff. Just stay over here, just smashing things.
I've been seeing the stuff that you've been putting out. That's been awesome.
I mean,
amazing. That basketball.
The basketball one I did like.
I loved that.
Did you see the one that they actually
I like the soccer one too. No, see, we're not getting off this topic. I like the soccer one too, Ben. Okay. But
see, I do the same thing that Neil does at Georgia, except on a much smaller level. Because
are you the Frank here?
No.
Yes, he is. He's building the program.
Well, I would say
you're building the
person who gets paid is building the program. I would say I'm just a volunteer that gets.
But do you have a sideline pass to the games? Yes. There we go.
So I would love to be the Frank of this program.
What? Yeah. So tell me about that.
I mean, it's Neil, how many hours do you put in a week?
35 to 40.
Okay, I put in about 3. Just because the practices are always during when I have class. They're all in the morning, and I
Really?
obviously did not build my schedule around.
That's
the
funny.
football
They have
practices.
morning practice.
Yeah. Do you guys not have morning practice?
No, we have practice at like the hottest time of the day. I think that might be on purpose.
At noon?
It's at 4.
At 4?
3. Yeah, it's like
So
buses leave at 3:30, 3:45.
I mean, I wish our practices were then because then I could actually go to them. But no, they're at like 8 in the morning.
Man.
And our basketball team practices is like 6:15 in the morning.
Wait, is that why? Okay, I see these athletes coming back like right around time I'm leaving. At
They're
like
coming back from practice, I think.
Wow. Okay, they practice really early.
Yeah, we have lift. I bet it's flipped. So we have morning lifts. Players have morning lifts really early in the morning, and then they practice in the afternoon. So I wonder
I think yeah.
NC State football has lifts in the afternoon.
Maybe. I wish I could tell
You guys are good this year.
I mean,
You guys almost beat Clemson.
yeah, and then we almost beat Louisville if you just.
I almost called the Clemson beating though. Almost called it on this podcast. Just saying. It's just, and I also said that our kicker would blow it for us probably.
You should have
he
said
is
that if you didn't say that.
He is the worst kicker.
I stand by it. Being a kicker is the worst position because you do your job and everybody's just like, yeah, you should have done that. And then like you don't do your job and everybody's like, I hate you so much.
I mean, he's
undoubtedly the worst position, but he also has like a 40%.
I think it's 50%.
Okay,
50% field goal.
50% field goal making on the season.
I feel bad for the guy, honestly.
So
People,
I don't know.
People have been hating on our kickers. And
Really?
stuff. Yeah, I mean they're really awesome people and like really they're great during practice. But I don't know, like it's just like
I mean, there's a ton of pressure on you.
put me in that situation, and I would like fall on the ground and start crying.
I mean,
like,
just
the fact that they
100,000 people surrounding you
and
while you take that
yelling
kick
and like, I couldn't.
on
So
top
much
of TV.
respect.
Yeah.
Shout out to William Ham. Shout out to Rodrigo Blankenship. You guys are the best. But like, no, I would not be able to do that at all. I
mean, I would also say you don't practice that. So if they put you in that spot, it would be a little weird.
It's just, oh my gosh.
I don't know. I just feel like they have one job. That is literally their one job to do.
That's fair.
But I mean, yes, I understand why they miss it. Like not every athlete on the field makes mistakes. It's just their mistakes are much more easily visible.
Because the only time you do your job is when it matters.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I can see you miss that kick instead of that offensive lineman that missed that
the
block. Or whatever
yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's much easier. They're much more in the spotlight.
Yeah. Were you at the Notre Dame game?
I was at the Notre Dame.
Oh my gosh.
I was unfortunately at the.
Were you shooting the Notre Dame game?
Yeah, I shot it for the first.
So yeah. So how did that turn?
Hold on. For the listeners who don't know, the Notre Dame game is right after Matthew or during Matthew, pretty much.
It was in the worst part of Matthew.
And so here in Raleigh, it was raining so hard that cars had rain up to their mirrors and their windows, and that's how much rain was happening here. But luckily, our agriculture had a good field set up, so it was draining well. But
it wasn't draining well. There's just too much water.
It really was just like the thing that I remember the most about that game was the players who were like running and sliding on the field like it was a slip and slide, and they were going after the game and they won. It was like they were going like 10-15 yards, like no joke. I mean, it was
wild.
That's what the cheerleaders were doing, like in between touchdowns and stuff. Normally they do flips across the field and stuff, but I mean during that they just
like were sliding across the field.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I was on the field for that, and it was just miserable. Like I was an unhappy person. I left at halftime.
Did your camera? Do you have your camera?
It's still alive.
How did
I mean,
not?
we had like I
You have a rain cover?
No, we just used plastic bags.
Okay, yeah.
Plastic bags, and I would tape it there. And then I couldn't see my LCD screen.
Okay.
So then I didn't know what I was shooting or if it was in focus, but I was just pointing it at things, and I was just like, we made 2 or 3 videos
really?
out of it. Yeah.
I need to see those. I follow you guys.
I mean, you probably saw them. One video was actually just this one fan just pounding his chest and then yelling, and that was it.
Okay, so tell me about your gear setup, because I know you guys shot on like an FS 700, right?
Right. Well, usually, so I have my 70D, and then we shoot on. There's like 3 of us.
Okay.
There's
really?
Austin, which is my boss, and then
I know of Austin Gaines. So Austin Gaines,
he's my boss.
Okay.
And he does like a lot of the work. Well, it's his job.
He was at Clemson before.
He was at Clemson as a student, and then he worked with them. And then after he graduated, he now came here and now is working with us.
Okay.
And so he has 2 cameras or 3 cameras. He has a couple of cameras.
A 5D3 and an Osmo?
I'm not. I know he has a Rebel. He's a Rebel T3i.
Okay.
He has a 5D, which is what I use to shoot during the games. He gives
Okay.
me that. And then I think he might have another camera. I'm not sure. But yes, so then recently the football team's been letting us use their FS700, which is a
Beast of a camera.
It's a beast of a camera.
It's $5,000 or $4,000.
Yeah, it's like $4,000 with a lens, which is just disgusting. But we only have 2 of them, and I don't think we're going to be able to use it very
Oh,
often.
you only 2 of them?
Yeah.
Only.
I mean, okay, yes. If you want to talk about
Gosh.
equipment, Neil actually has the hookup on equipment, but so this, like, they just let us use it for, I don't know why we got to use it, but
That's
we used
insane,
it.
though.
Yeah, it's really,
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun to use, and I'm just sad that we probably won't be able to use it again because they
You
just
should
don't.
ask him.
I mean, I don't know. Austin says he like talks to the people and they just don't understand. It's like,
Well, if they don't know how to use it, be like, well, we'll teach you
Yeah,
if you
right.
let us use it. Is it all sports or is it just football?
it's all sports.
All
like,
sports.
I'm doing basketball this year too.
Because I saw your that basketball cut was just like, I watched that like 6 times and showed
I mean,
Frank, and Frank was like, whoa, that was really good.
I mean, I watched it a lot too. It's like after I make a video, I'll just sit there and I'll just keep watching it over and over.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm awesome. And then I remember, oh no, I'm not awesome. It's just the slow-mo making everything look wonderful.
So anyway,
Slow motion makes everything great.
It's true. That is the quote of the
actually,
year.
I'm not gonna lie. Slow motion makes things look pretty good. But
that was like the greatest thing to come to iPhone when it came out.
Oh
Oh,
my
my
God.
goodness.
Slow-mo on it.
Readily accessible slow motion.
It's true. But then they the new one doesn't the 6 or the I don't know. My phone does not have super slow-mo, but then like one of the iPhones has like 240 frames.
so my
Mine
6
does,
Plus
yes.
has 240.
Yours has 240.
My 6 Plus has 240, and I know that I think everything since then has 240.
I mean, my iPhone shoots in 4K, which is just
That's crazy. That
absurd
honestly
for
is
a smartphone.
ridiculous.
That is disgusting. Why do you like? Does the screen even
That
display
is
4K?
disgusting.
I don't even think it does, but I mean, the camera can hardly handle it, but it still does it, which is incredible for a phone. And a 4K camera nowadays will, like, the cheapest ones cost you $1,000. Yeah.
No doubt.
That's true.
I mean, the
And so-
new Canon. I mean, the 1DX Mark II shoots 4K. 1DX Mark II shoots 4K at 60 frames a second.
That's nice.
6 seconds of that 4K at 60 footage is like 1.3 gigabytes.
You.
Oh
no.
So, and like we have a Mac Pro at work, and that can barely handle
4K.
4K at 60 frames a second.
I'm saying Neil's football equipment is disgusting. Neil, what do you have, Neil?
So last year we shot on GH4s with $14 Metabones adapters when we put our we have Canon glass. So I shot last year a lot I bought my own GH4, and I shot on a 70 to 200 2.8. And that's a Canon zoom lens. And then the GH4, and the great thing is that GH4 is a micro four thirds, so everything is a 2 times crop factor.
I don't even know what that means.
So that basically means like my 70 to 200 goes from a 70 to 200 to a 140 to 400.
Is that like distance?
Yeah.
Or-
So like
okay.
zoom basically.
Okay. Sounds good.
So
The higher
like,
the second number, the more the zoom.
yeah. So basically like the great thing about that is that I could shoot, I could stand on the sideline and shoot like every play just because I could zoom so far. But so then we put in like a wish list, and we got an A7S Mark II, which is really great. So that shoots 4K. Excuse me. So it's a full frame mirrorless camera, which is also great because full frame is really good in low light. But then it also shoots 120 frames a second, but also with audio, which is like I never would realize like how much I love that, because slow motion is really good, but then like slow motion with audio is like, oh my gosh.
Is the audio in slow motion? What is that?
So it shoots it at 120 frames in real time,
Right.
and then you can kind of basically stretch it out, and then the
Right.
audio gets stretched out. But if you like unlink the footage basically and just slow motion and then just leave the audio and kind of cut it so that it doesn't sound weird, then it sounds really nice. I don't know.
That's how you get like the crowd noise or stuff like that in
Yeah.
the video.
So there's someone making a catch in slow motion, then the crowd goes crazy. Like, I don't know. I guess that's what it is. But we have one of those, and then we shoot on a 1DX Mark II. So that shoots 4K at 60, and it shoots 120 frames without sound, but it still looks really good. So we shoot a lot of that with pregame, and then I'll shoot my GH4 during the game, and a lot of sideline stuff with the GH4 or the 1DX.
Gotcha. So on top of video, you've also been taking a lot of photos, and you went to Tanzania, and some of the photos that came out of that were pretty incredible.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Thank you.
How was that trip?
That trip was awesome, man. I did a lot of cool stuff. We camped in the safari, we went on safari, camped in the Serengeti for 4 days.
How long were you there total?
So I was there for 3 weeks, and then, or I was there for a month. So the main master program was 3 weeks, and then I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
This was a study abroad.
This was a study abroad,
by the way.
Yeah. My PE was actually climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, which is pretty cool.
No big deal. Pretty easy.
Anyone who's listening to this podcast who I know at Georgia is probably like, "Oh, Neil's talking about Kilimanjaro again. I hate this guy." Honestly, like one of the only
did you have to
cool
train for that?
Oh no, I did not train. It's like the only cool thing I've done in my life. So someone's like, "Yeah, dude, I just like finished a water bottle." I was like, "Water? I had water on Kilimanjaro." Oh, a turkey sandwich was great. Like, oh, I didn't have turkey sandwiches on Kilimanjaro. I hate myself for it. But
is that the tallest freestanding mountain in the world?
It's the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, and it's the tallest mountain in Africa.
No big deal.
One of the 7 summits. It's 19,341 feet. It's pretty cool. Honestly, I almost died, which is cool. I mean, like I didn't almost die.
Did you have like
kind of did.
AMS, like what is it called, acute mountain sickness or stuff like that because you didn't train, or?
Well,
Neil,
really doesn't
Neil
matter.
was just an idiot.
So like it doesn't really matter like who you are. You can really just get altitude. It's the like altitude sickness, like acute mountain sickness.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah. So you take medicine for it on the mountain. But like David Beckham couldn't climb Kili just because like everybody calls it Kili too. Sorry, I feel like such a pretentious Kilimanjaro. It's just such a mouthful. Like David Beckham didn't get all the way up just because like some people altitude sickness affects them more.
He was just out of shape, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean that guy is just like gosh, athlete. Okay. But yeah, I mean it was cool. It was 4 days up, 2 days down. It was 17 miles up, 17 miles down. I hiked for our summit push. We started at midnight, and it was probably like negative 10 degrees. We got to the top around 8:30. We had to hike back down, and then we had to hike down from the summit down to our high base camp, and then down to base camp. So it was like 17 hours of hiking in one day, which was killer. Yeah, I don't remember coming down the mountain because I was just passing out the entire way down, and my friend Rachel, thank you Rachel, was like basically like not carrying me down the mountain, but she'd be like, walk straight, like Neil, like drink some water. But I was like seeing things and my eyes were rolling I was just like, I was a wreck, man.
But you weren't the worst one though.
No, one girl actually was like, had to get like medevaced down the mountain.
Jeez.
So she just had a really bad reaction to altitude sickness and was just like puking her brains out at the summit, so she got to the top, which is like, shout out to Melissa. But so then she was just like passing out and at the top. And so our guide just like put her on his back and just like ran down the mountain with her. And it's like, you walk like at that altitude, there's like barely any air up there. So you walk like 4 steps and you're like, like it was honestly is like someone puts a pillow on your face and then you have to run a mile. Yeah. I mean like the altitude, it's weird. You just like breathe and there's nothing there. But, and then he just started running and I was like, okay, man, like I can't even take 4 steps and you're like just jogging. But,
and he had her in a wheelbarrow, you said.
Yeah. So then they got her down to our high base camp, which was about 16,500 feet. They put her in this like big wheelbarrow. And so it's like, she was lying down in her sleeping bag with her backpack as a pillow, and they strapped her in and then had a massive bike wheel with nice shocks. Cause it's kind of a rocky trail. And
They've done this before.
Yeah. Well, then they go down, race her down more to about 13,000 feet. And then she got in a super sketchy Land Rover and with a hole in the bottom, and they drove her all the way down.
And she was never seen again.
Yeah. I haven't seen her since. So if you're listening to this, Melissa, we love you and come home soon. No, she got down. She was waiting for us at the bottom the next three days after that, 2 days. I lost count. I just really didn't know what was happening.
Maybe that was part of her plan.
Yeah.
She just wanted to get home early.
I don't feel like walking down. Actually funny. There were a couple people that I'm not going to, okay, I'm done. But so she got seen by a doctor and it was good, but I was just,
exhausted,
embarrassing. Like it was just terrible. I looked like.
Well, didn't the guide say like stay up there for like when you get to the top, there's some special rules, aren't there?
So you're the closest person to the sun on planet Earth, which is pretty cool because the way that the mountain is so close to the equator, and you're only supposed to be up there for 15 minutes. And then at 45 minutes, I was still up there. Oh no! Our guy was like, "Hey, how long have you been up here?" And I was like, 48. And he was like, "Why are you still here? Go down the mountain right now." And I was like, "Okay, bye." And then things started. I literally don't remember anything after that.
Did you have a camera with you? Did you take pictures at the I know you took one picture.
I took a couple pictures of the top. I took a video at the top. I don't really remember taking the video, but I was like asking everybody how they felt, and everybody was like really sick of me talking. And then I like turned the camera on myself. I was like, "I feel good." I sounded like I was on drugs, but yeah. So that was wild. I just took like the camera body, and then I took a really small kind of 50mm lens because I didn't want to have a big heavy lens with me, which I came to regret because the stars were amazing because you're above the clouds and there's no light pollution.
Oh, nice.
So like I could see like the webs of the Milky Way.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like the naked eye. I mean, like it wasn't like a long exposure photo or anything. It was just.
How much carrying did you have to do with you, or were the guides the ones who carried
so the guys
stuff?
were like, I had about a 30-pound pack with like water and clothes, and the water really was the heaviest. And like rain, you always had to have rain gear because sometimes it like makes its own weather. Like a cloud will just roll in and it'll just like start misting. And like, I mean, it really didn't do that. The weather was nice for us, but the guides you put your stuff in kind of like a tarp kind of bag. It's waterproof. It's a duffel bag. And then they carry that on their heads up the mountain. And they do that with all your food, all your water, everything up to each camp. So go ahead of you.
How many guides are there?
So we had like 5 guides, 6 guides.
In order to summit the mountain, you have to have guides, right?
On Kilimanjaro, you do. You can do Aconcagua in South America and just
of course,
do it by yourself. But Kili, you have to have, that's like a rule of the park. So the porters take yourself up, and the porters are like people who want to be guides. So they have to be a porter before you can be a guide, kind of. And then the guides take you up. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. You start out in a rainforest and you go through like 4 different climate zones. We ended in an alpine desert. So it looked like Mars. And then awesome. You climb on a glacier and you're like, wow, this ice has been here since the last ice age. So that's pretty cool.
Jeez.
But yeah, it was wild, man. I mean,
so that was the highlight of the trip?
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the trip. It's just like the hardest thing I've ever done, the most rewarding thing I've ever done, the coolest thing I've ever done. I don't know. Well, people might think like that's not cool, but like,
I don't know how you can't think that's cool. I don't know anyone who'd be like, "Oh, you climbed Count Kili? You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and that doesn't sound cool at all."
Honestly, I have no doubt that you guys could. I mean, it's really not like,
it's not that hard.
It's a lot of intense hiking, and then summit day is like terrible.
I mean, I'm saying 17 hours of I don't know if I've done more than 2 hours of walking.
Yesterday I walked in the mall for 4 hours and almost died.
But I mean, it's just really just the altitude, a mixture of like cold altitude, I don't know, just lack of water, exhaustion. I'm making it sound a lot worse. Like,
have you heard of Wim Hof?
No.
He's called he's called the Iceman, and like his whole deal is he oxygenizes the body. He breathes just a lot and just takes in a lot of oxygen. So he's broken world records
like the time.
Yeah.
I guess he just constantly breathing.
Sleeping, and he's like,
apparently he's trained his body so his body has more oxygen than everyone, and so he can withstand the cold. And he's done marathons in his boxers, like under the Arctic. Yes, barefoot.
Yeah. Okay. I know
this man is incredible, and I think he's actually planning on doing Kilimanjaro. He's done it a lot, but for a challenge, he's doing it barefoot, shirtless, like in these shorts that might as well be boxers. And he's just an animal. And apparently getting a lot of oxygen to your body and training that way significantly helps you when you summit
altitude training is a really big thing. So that's why our Olympic training center is in Denver, Colorado, because it's only like 7,000 feet. I don't know. It's like the Mile High City, they call it. But the altitude definitely plays a role. Like a lot of people go to like Kenya because Kenya has really high elevation. You could also see Kenya from but Kilimanjaro. You see what I mean? But yeah, so people go there because then they come down to sea level and there's a lot more air and they're like, well, I'm used to running the same distance, same time as you, but with like half the amount of air.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. A lot of long distance runners come out of Kenya.
Yeah, because it's
super high.
I think it's pretty, and you can get like altitude training masks that mimic it.
Really?
And you look like a tank. I mean, like, you look like Bane.
That's true. That's actually more important thing to do.
Yeah, it's just how you look, honestly. Like nothing else matters if you don't look cool. I'm just kidding.
And so away from the mountain on the safari, you saw a bunch of animals, didn't you? Wasn't there like a lion in your tent at one point? Yeah,
so like that? It was in my bed on top of me, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" I was zipping up in my tent to walk out, and there was like a lion walking through the camp, and I was like, nope, zip back up. But there are like there's a water buffalo that are actually Cape buffalo. They're the most dangerous animals.
They kill more humans than any other animal.
Yeah. So
right?
lions are kind of just like, I don't care about you at all.
Right.
Sort of thing. So like when we're walking back to our tents, we walk back with like guides and stuff. And they're like, I don't know why we're walking you back. Like a lion's not going to attack you. It just doesn't care about you.
Actually, on a little tip, tell us about the people who are walking you back. Cause I remember a little bit about what you told me. Like you said, the people that you were.
Oh, the Maasai.
Yeah,
so these guys were with the tour company and they live out in the bush. But like, so the Maasai, we went to a Maasai village and they're a nomadic livestock community. Their source of currency is in the amount of cattle that they own. But they're really cool, really like they held off German colonization. Like they're amazing warriors. They're like renowned. Like our hotel had like Maasai warrior guards. Like they're really good at private security because they're like amazing. So one of the guys taught me how to like hunt a lion. Not taught me, but like he told me how they hunt lions and like all this stuff. And like they'll just go and if a lion is made a kill, they'll like scare the lion away, like butcher the meat and then like walk away. Like they don't care at all. I mean, it's crazy. So I mean, their knowledge and like respect for like all like the animals and like what they can do and like what plants and things like that. I mean, it blows my mind. But they're really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Isn't it cool people?
Yeah, it's super super awesome. But yeah, so there was like
not scared of the lions, and then buffalo.
Cape buffalo was up against our tent at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. There's a hyena cackling outside of our tent. It's really weird, like because you get there and you're like, like this is gonna be fun. It's like camping, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's a hyena. And then like we came to the mess tent the next morning, which is like kind of like a wedding tent almost, just like not as fancy. And we were like, yeah, so like what keeps the lion from like ripping open our tent? Because it's just a canvas or like a hyena or like anything. And they're like, well, the animals see that canvas as like a solid wall. So if it knows that it's not a solid wall, it'll just break through. And we're like, okay, good. This is really good. I have a mosquito net to keep me, so I'll be fine. And they were like, oh yeah, also like, shake out your boots in the morning and at night just to make sure like no snakes or spiders or scorpions have crawled in there. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. We'll make sure not to do that. But it was super fun.
Did anyone get bit by anything? That was more than a mosquito or anything?
One girl on our trip got malaria and she summited the mountain 6 days later, which was crazy.
She's an animal.
Yeah, she's super awesome. But no one really we almost got charged by an elephant on one of our game drives, which is really cool. And I got on video. So that was awesome. But
gosh,
wait, not really. Otherwise,
no, just a boring trip. Just a boring trip, Tanzania.
Oh yeah, it was super boring. I got yelled at by one of the girls on our trip. This is just hilarious, actually. We were on our way back, and it was like the sun was setting, and there were like, no joke, probably like 25 giraffes. Is it giraffes or giraffe? 25 giraffe, like all around, like a couple of trees right by our campsite. And it was like amazing. The sun was setting, like, oh my gosh, we're in the Serengeti. Like, this is so cool. And I'm like freaking out and everybody's freaking out. And this one girl, she's like 22 or 23, whatever. She's like, she's on the phone. Like she's talking to someone in the US. Like, I don't know how she got a SIM card. And she goes, guys, quiet down. I'm on the phone. And I was like, we are in the Serengeti looking at giraffes as the sun sets. And you want me to be quiet because you're talking on the phone. I was like, hang up the phone. That was a little bit of an overreaction. I apologize. But I was like, all right. So
I mean, that's a fair point. My God.
yeah, I was like, sorry, I'm interrupting your phone call.
Right. Go back to the US if you're going to call somebody.
But it was, I don't know. I was like, I really want a pet monkey one day. And I got a 20-minute lecture on how I was perpetuating monkey slavery. And I was like,
by the same person.
By the same person. I was like, all right, well.
Monkeys are slaves too.
Regret talking about, okay. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
Please. So
you're gonna go back to Tanzania again, or is that your one chance to go?
I want to do some sort of. I want to do more hiking stuff.
Is there another mountain you're seeking out?
Yeah, so I want to do Rainier, which is in Washington, which is 14,000, but it's more alpine climbing, so it's a lot. It's like ice axe and crampons. But when I got back to the States, they found a hole in my heart, so I can't really go at altitude. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you have to get like a pacemaker?
No, it's just so there's a hole between the left and right chamber of my heart. And basically at lower or at higher altitudes, your blood gets thinner because there's not as much oxygen in it. And then like the blood can shunt across to the other chamber. Right. And then I'm circulating deoxygenated blood and then I'm passing out. And then
right. So could that have contributed to why you're passing out so much?
Yeah. So that's I went to the doctor because of that. And I was also like almost passing out here, which I think was residuals from something I had. But then I went to see one of my dad's partners and then I got like an echo and my dad was like, came by to check on me, how I was doing. He's like, oh yeah, so that's a hole. It's called a peripheral formative valley, which is pretty cool. But but then I got a heart MRI, and so now I thought I was fine until this morning when I told my dad I was like, oh yeah, I want to try to do this mountain this summer, and he was like, yeah, nope. So I can't really go over 19,000 feet apparently.
Altitude training, you just got to do it.
Western medicine is a hoax. I'm still doing it. But yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
So you just got to stay below 19,000.
Yeah,
that's pretty tough. I go above 19,000 all the time.
All right, you know what, man.
We actually are going to be going pretty high soon.
That's true.
Really?
I don't know if you know this, but me and Ben and I are going skydiving.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
When?
We don't know. That's
that's 19th, the catcher.
Well, that's amazing.
20th of November.
Possibly. That's a day that'll work with me. I'll jump out of a plane.
Where do you guys go to do that?
Western North Carolina.
Okay.
We're going with some. We're trying to figure out who's going to go with us.
I bet Mikey would go.
I bet Mikey would.
I haven't talked to Mikey in like a year and a half, but like I follow him on Instagram. That totally seems like the kind of thing that he would do. So
and then
that is a good move.
Yeah.
The more people we get, we need to get like more people so then we can get a better rate.
Okay.
Is that really the thing?
That is the thing.
Oh, I didn't know that was the thing.
Well, that's, I mean, me and your dad were talking and we're like,
oh, your dad's cool with it?
No, my dad, he's funding me. It was my birthday present. That's what my birthday present was.
His Instagram was his dad's Instagram post was, "We love you enough to throw you out of a plane."
That's amazing, and that sounds like your dad. That's really funny.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Sometime we got to figure it out.
Just don't forget. You just got to pull the cord. Just don't forget.
I'm not pulling the cord.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't do that.
I just won't believe in it.
Lame.
Yeah, right. You got to roll. I hear that's what.
Do it if you're bad. But man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that should be an experience.
That's like one thing I will never go cheap on. It's like that, like shark cage diving and tattoos. I will never like try to get like I'll never do like a Groupon. Like,
I would do a Groupon for all three of those things, just for the record.
I'm like scared that this is gonna rip me off. I'm like, okay,
just jump out of some guy's plane.
We're not
barely
even
knows
skydiving.
I mean, I would say that's a good move. I would say the shark tank is probably the one you definitely do not want to go cheap on.
I really want to
see
do
that. Do you guys see that video
of the shark going through? That was crazy.
That was so awesome.
Blew my mind.
And at the point when he was in the tank, though, I got the impression that the shark just wanted to get out.
I mean, yes, I'm sure
Yeah, I
both
feel
of them.
like
Neither of them at that point wanted to be in the
I
tank.
felt the shark was just like, wait, what did I just do?
I have made a mistake. I am now stuck. I'm surprised that he survived like the tail, like
Yeah.
just, not even the shark biting him.
That
just,
would like knock me out.
And that man, apparently he went scuba diving the very next day.
Oh, I feel like that's what you have to do. Like, you know, when people get in like really bad car crashes and like they say you like have to get back on the road or else you're never going to want to drive again.
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like to like get over it is like a mental thing. Like you just got to go scuba diving and be like, it's not as bad as a shark.
You have to go like pet a shark or something.
Yeah. Or like, you know, like hug one or
Right.
catch one barehanded while you're scuba diving.
Right.
I don't know.
Punch one in the nose or something like
Yeah.
that, which just seems like the worst idea. Like, I just don't understand.
Did you guys see that video of the guy who got attacked by the grizzly bear?
Twice. The same one.
The same one
I
came
saw
back
that.
for him.
Yes.
And like it came back for him and he's like walking, he's like got his hat on, he's like, I don't want to take my hat off if like anything falls off of my head.
And his ear was
His
hanging off.
ear was hanging off. Like, this is gross. I'm sorry. I should have given like a warning. Yeah, and he's like, his arm was broken because a bear just chomped down on it, and then he's just like taking a selfie video as he's walking back to his car, and he like drove himself to the hospital and was like,
That man's an animal.
gosh,
He's such an animal.
man's a legend.
He's a legend.
But yeah, so that's my life.
That's quite a life you're living there, Mr. Neil.
Hey,
But
it's fun.
well, you have to go, right?
I do. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
One final question.
Yes.
What order do you put the Starburst flavors in? The normal ones.
Okay. Can I start with like what I would put last?
Yes.
Okay, I think everybody would agree that or not orange. Orange goes second to last. Yellow goes last.
Right.
I'm just gonna let you talk, and then I'm gonna
Pink.
go with my lip.
Pink is first,
Okay.
and then red.
So
Am I
you
missing
go,
anything?
You go pink.
I go pink, red, orange, yellow.
Okay.
I'd switch the red and the pink, but
Okay.
I'm on
See, for
Forward with
me,
you.
I go.
So I hate you now, is what you're telling me.
Well, you're-
basically.
I go red, yellow,
Ooh.
pink, orange. That is my
Wow.
But apparently,
Bold.
yellow is just universally hated. I did not know that it was so
It's
universally
just
hated.
it's too bitter for me.
Bitter.
You know what I mean?
Really? I've never heard that description of.
I
that.
guess you guys just don't have like a really complicated palate like I do. So like,
No, but you're not, because I remember seeing this tweet like years ago, and it said how my day's going, and it's a picture of them unwrapping it, and they got 2 yellows, and I like yellows, so I was like, I didn't understand.
good day.
Yeah, I was like, that seems like a good day. I never got it until yesterday. We were talking about it, and everyone else in the group was like, yeah, yellows are by far the worst, and pink is the best. I was like, why is that the universally agreed on one?
I don't know.
So I was just curious if that was like I don't know where that came from.
I guess you're just
And it
wrong,
is.
man.
I mean, I guess I am. I like the yellows. The yellows are good. I'm a fan of them.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so I think that's how we're gonna finish every show from now on. I'm gonna ask people how they order Starburst.
Honestly, that's a good question.
well, you're the first one.
You were the first
Really?
one. Yeah.
Wow. I feel
Congratulations.
great right now.
So
Thank you for coming on.
where can they check you out, Neil? Pimp your stuff.
Okay, shameless plug. If you want to go look at any of the football videos, just go to Vimeo and type in the search bar Georgia football, and then just go to channels. That was way too difficult.
Sounds pretty simple. What about on Instagram? What about your personal stuff if they want to find you? Check out
Personal
your
stuff.
Tanzania stuff.
Snapchat.
Yeah. Social security number. No. My Instagram is Neil Neill, and then it's just like an _ Peterson. I don't know if you want to. If you feel like it, that'd be cool.
He's a nice guy. He posts really good much above average photos.
But then I
say.
just like don't post any photos.
I mean, that's true, but still your photos are definitely better than average photos.
Thank
like instead of like a bathroom wall, it's like a bathroom wall shot with a 6D. So it's much better. You get more detail in the
I threw a
photos.
nice little filter on there, so it looks
Yeah,
good.
look, we're fine.
But yeah, I mean, if you feel like it,
So again, you can follow Neil on Instagram at Neil Neill
Yes,
dot Peterson
two
or
L's.
underscore Peterson, or on Vimeo.com/Georgia Football.
Yeah.
Something like that.
yeah, no, that is what Vimeo.com. Yeah, I just never post anything on my personal Vimeo. Everything that I do really just goes on the Georgia Football.
And then remember, you can follow us or get in contact with us through Twitter, Facebook, or SoundCloud, iTunes, any of those, all with YouTube as well, with Epoch Podcast. That's EPOCH podcast. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's going to end it. All right.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yep.
Live long, live epic.